the difference between this year and what we have done for 23 years is that we are looking in for the ways to extend the conversation to after the conference. So this is the first slide that got to do nothing with the rest. It's just that this, what's going to happen here, we are going to try. Let me use the word try. I'm not sure that that's going to work or not. It's going to be the input. Whatever input means. The input will be the video. The input will be the comments that you can make verbally, orally. The comments that you can make, writing them down in 5 lines or in 5 pages or whatever. Any kind of comment. And that will be taken in account, even if it's completely opposite to what we're going to say in the new paper that we're working. Right now we have a working paper that we are working another version that will be taken into account. All selected paper is going to be internal selection because we don't have time because it's not formal. So it's not going to have right at the beginning external reviewers will be included as appendices. And if it's something against what we are saying here, better. Because that makes the writer learn, but it would make the reader also learn. So it would be kind of dialogue via written comments. And then that would lead, hopefully, to what we can call multiple author article, which is different to an article with co-authors. It will be a paper with short papers, a collection of papers, but each part will have its author or co-author. So there will be no co-authors for all the papers. So it's going to be a collection of very short essays. But the essay should be a research-based essay. What means research-based essay? Someone else did the research. So you are making essay, so we need at least 2 references for that multiple issue, multiple paper. And hopefully that's will feed the people, the same group, that hopefully it would be extended the group in order to produce a special issue of the journal. And then, again, the same thing hopefully would end up in a multiple author book, in which each one would have a chapter. And here we ask him, or ask her, to get some appendices saying the opposite of what he said. So the reader can learn from the idea is to make the authors and the readers make some reflection. So next year we're going to have a session like this one, and I'm going to make a call for paper for it if I have time. Relating research with reflection, because they are always related. Like it or not, are related. But we never write that in that paper. And they are always related. Before starting any research, we have to have some reflection in some moments. And after starting the research and getting more information and getting experimental results, we are making reflection in the process. So it's at the beginning, in the process, and at the end, because we have to make some reflection according to what we achieved. So why don't be explicit about your reflection, but just about the research? With no self-reflection, there is no research. So why should we shut down out of that paper the reflection? And that takes us to what we did last year, doxa and episteme. To relate the episteme with doxa, because they are related. There is no way to get saved from this relation. Opinion and knowledge are related. Justified knowledge and non-justified knowledge are, related or not, related. And they base each other. If you don't believe me, I ask you, give me just one universal law, just one, that is not based in a non-justifiable belief. Give me just one. Just one. And I will give you the example of the 16th century with you, that no one solved the problem that he made. He destroyed the induction of the empirical science. He destroyed it. And there is no solution yet to what he said. How you know that the gravity law will be working tomorrow? Do you have a window to the future? So how, as scientists, you know that? In other words, not as bad as mine. That's what he said. How do you know that? How do you know that if you don't have a window to the future? How do you know that? So you are violating your own principles not to have unconfirmed belief, but you are working with an unconfirmed belief. All the empirical sciences based on unconfirmed belief, and all the logical and mathematics are based on axioms. What the axioms are for? What the axioms are for? By definition, they cannot be proved. So all the rational system, as Ortega said, is based in an irrational basis, because axioms are not rational. By definition, you cannot prove them. Because if you can prove them, they are theorem. So from the empirical point of view and from the rational point of view, there is no way to avoid doxa. With episteme, truth or knowledge. No way to avoid opinion. So why we don't accept that and start recognizing that in our papers and with our students? Why not? Aren't we supposed to be saying the truth to our students?
I think therefore I am.
You see, that's the best example. He started with that. But he got to believe that without any additional confirmation. You have to start somewhere. And when this starting point is doxa, is opinion, is non-justified knowledge. Is an implicit, not justified knowledge. Well, this is what I try to say here. You see, that will apply to almost all, no, not almost, all the participatory panels and conversational session of today. This is why we selected controversial topics.
I have a question of opinion. Has the session actually started? I'm confused.
Yes, we started with the base.
Okay.
So, because if we start without that, we won't achieve the end that we are looking for, that is to have a controversy orally or writing comment, at least comment, if you don't have time. That will be appendices. And the author will be based on that, and if the author agrees, will say, I agree with that appendix, and will reference it. Or would say, hey, I don't agree, and this is my reason why I don't agree. So he reflected, and he's making the reader to reflect. I have this appendix, I don't agree, and these are my reasons. You decide. You reader decide. Not me, for you. I'm not going to be author and peer reviewer at the same time. Let the author be the peer reviewer. But give him or her the reasoning why you agree or disagree. And let him decide. So it's participative even in that, not just here. But it needs prolongation. All the following papers. Hey, how do I do that?
Our present page down.
Can you help me?
I'm not sure.
If you're not sure, how can I be sure about what I'm doing?
Well, let's try page down. Okay, I don't think you got this thing selected. There we go.
Okay. Now we are in
Oh, now it's session again. Okay, good.
interdisciplinary communication. Okay. So look at that Julie. Thompson Klein said in her book that, as long as I know, it's the largest book and the most comprehensive book about what she's talking about. She got the 40% of the pages of the book with references, and then the 60th page, she's referencing all of them. So it's not a bibliography, it's references. So I think that she knows what she's talking about. She said, interdisciplinary work is often attacked for lacking rigor. How do you pronounce rigor?
Rigor.
Yeah. However, rigor is not diminished. Rather, it is shifted from disciplinary criteria to new interdisciplinary objective. So it's going from one logic to another. From predicate logic, for example, or inductive logic, she is going to teleological logic, which is to achieve the objective. So she's switching of logic thinking like the mathematician switch his logic when he get to make physics. Because he had to switch from deduction logic to induction. So why the hell he can do or she can do that and we cannot do it as interdisciplinary people? To change our thinking to end means logic. To have as end mean logic, and as means the other logic, because you always have to have the other logic, you cannot violate it. But one thing is to have math or deduction as an end in itself, and another thing is to have it as a means for the teleological logic, which is the logic of pragmatism. It's another logic, that's it. But they don't say that, in my opinion. They call it course sense. What's the meaning of course sense? So you see why the people making disciplinary research, they are against any interdisciplinary research. Because the people who knows about that, they are using words that I've been in interdisciplinary business for 35 years, and I don't understand that. So how you can expect disciplinary people to understand this? What's that? 4 sense of interdisciplinary rigor. What's that? Here are no scholarly defined standards, etc., etc. Clarity. What's clarity mean? It's clear for me that you are here. Does make me saying that being rigorous? So of course we need clarity, but we need something more than clarity. Something more. So the most accepted thing, in my opinion, just an opinion, is a doctrine. Take us nowhere. So we propose, according to all that needs, we propose just a suggestion from a proposal to assure disciplinary rigor, to assure it as a mean, with the traditional or an improved peer review, plus an additional review, which objective is to see anyone that is not from my discipline is understanding what I'm saying. So it's not less rigorous, it's more rigorous. There's another rule. So I have to comply with the traditional peer reviewing. And after that, sequentially, systematically, not systemically, systematically after, we don't have another peer review made by people that are not from the discipline to see if they can understand what this guy or what this lady is saying. This is a proposal, we're going to work for it and we're going to improve it according to that we might have from you here.
May I make a comment?
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Sorry.
Oh, really?
Especially you! Especially you that has the knowledge of all that.
No, I don't have any knowledge about it, but what I understand is, I kind of have a problem with this whole argument, to be honest with you, because I think that there's two things. I think, and you see it here in the title of the workshop, the intellectual rigor of interdisciplinary communication. But I kind of have a feeling, and I go along those lines in my research, that there's two kinds of rigor.
Yes.
There's academic rigor, and then there's intellectual rigor.
And
intellectual rigor doesn't necessarily mean that it's not, maybe that's the new docs.
I agree completely with you, and this is the reason why I gave between the deduction and the induction. They have different logics.
Yeah. But they're both needed, eh?
They are both needed, of course. So why we can switch, why a mathematician can get into physics and vice versa, changing the logic, why we cannot change the logic to the pragmatic logic, which is the mean-end logic, to achieve an objective. You see what I mean? So I agree with you. But my problem is that the people from other disciplines would not agree with either of us. People from discipline would not agree with us, and they will still say that we lack of rigor. So give them the rigor and go further than that to another rigor. So I agree completely with you, but I'm just trying to avoid that the people would not agree with us. Here is another way to see what I'm trying to suggest. Is a translation. The same author of the disciplinary or interdisciplinary research is the one who's gonna make the interpretation, to make the translation. This is the best translation that you can find anywhere. Because when I was studying in Venezuela, I knew nothing about English, and I prefer to read the book in English than in Spanish. Because the one who's making the translation has no idea what he's talking about. So you have to understand first in order to make a good translation. And who's better to understand what he's translating than the same author? So the translation is between two semiotic systems, following the three levels of the semiosis: the syntaxis, the syntactic one, the semantic one, and especially the pragmatic one, the one that relates the sign with the user of the sign. Did you understand that? Did you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that in a perfect syntax, with a perfect semantic. Did you understand it? If not, I'll have to change my semantic. I will have to be more creative than original. I have to produce some metaphors. I have to produce some analogies, some similes. The three of them are not the same thing. Related, but are not the same thing. Because I am similar to my father, but I am not analogous to him, and I'm not a metaphor of him. So similar, analogy, and another word are not the same. They are related, but they are not the same. So it's a semiotic translation. The goal here is the word translation. But that is a translation between two linguistic, semiotic systems. It's between a disciplinary semiotic system and interdisciplinary semiotic system. The best example I found, it's not the only example, there's a lot of examples, but the best one is the education in mathematics. I made a Google search, and in less than 1 minute I found that how any person in K-12 or in the university teach mathematics is making a translation. But not a translation between languages, natural languages. A translation between the mathematical language, the mathematical semiotic system, and the natural sign and all the other things that he's using by saying, by acting, by gesturing, by using analogies, by using metaphors. So this is why what we are proposing here, in my belief up to now, is more creative. You have to add the creativity that you needed for being original, to more creativity that is needed for translation. All creativity, all originality needs creativity, but not all creativity needs. For example, reverse engineering of Japan invented that. They are not making a new product, so they are not original at that time. Now they are original, but I'm talking about 20, 30 years ago. They are making reverse engineering. They are making the same car. They copying the same car. There is a Spanish to the phrase copying engineering. I can find it in Google. So it's in Spanish, copying engineering. engineering of making copies of products that meet my content. So in Latin America, copy engineering is very popular because we need to make products as much as possible in order to buy from the United States and from Europe. So that's still creativity, but this is not originality because you are copying what anyone else did. The same thing happened with China violating all the patents in the world. They are not original because the original one is the one who has got the patent. But they are violating, all the international law of patent, and they are copying. The same thing in Thailand, with the watches, Rolex and all that are not Rolex. Can you imagine that a Rolex with $3? I bought one in Thailand. So that's required creativity, but not originality. So the creativity needed for the originality, you have to add another kind of creativity. So it's even more rigorous just because of this reason, and not the other reason that you have to follow, not the logic, not just the logic of the discipline, but you have to follow another logic. So you have more logics, more restriction, more rigor in what you are doing because you have to follow the disciplinary logic, but at the same time you have to follow the pragmatic logic to be understood by all.
But just out of curiosity, how do you define rigor? Because that's actually
very
challenging. I've actually done research on that.
You cannot imagine how much time I spent on that in books and in Googling. And you are completely right. You are completely right. Even if you go to the word academic rigor, you find an infinite opinion about that. Especially in the university with all that you have in all the university, checking out how much are you doing. They don't agree not even with each other. I mean, the people who are making the assessment don't agree even with each other on what a rigor is. So I went, as everyone else, what I did is to escape from this problem as anyone escapes, going to the etymological meaning of rigor because it's the most general one. All the other things are species in general. And rigor is to follow rules, is to follow restriction, is to follow a method, a scientific method. No matter if you don't know what's that, because I've been 5 years full-time studying philosophy after my PhD in order to know what science is, what scientific method is, and the more I studied, the less I knew what the hell is that. So, but you have to follow method. Who knows what the scientific method is? Who knows what science is? Who knows what method is? In my last Spanish war, which is a huge war, I had 4 chapters about. I started defining method, and I ended up saying there is no way to define it. All that I can give is a notion, which is a set of related concepts and definition, and related. For that, I needed more than 1 chapter, more than 1 section of defining. I needed 4 chapters from 7 or 8. The whole work, which was not about 600 pages, double columns with 9.9. You can imagine the kind of work. So the 40% of the work was regarding what method is. I wrote all that and I still don't know what's method is. So I can talk for 4 chapters about the notion of method, but don't ask me to define method. Because I can give you a lot of definition of method and identify the relationship among them. So all that things, you're gonna tell me you just found one of the people that are making the assessment of your doctorate. Okay? Because he created the doctorate in business administration in the his university. Is there anyone that cares about defining just one more about what he's saying, about all the ambiguous words that he's using or she is using? Any one of them, I would pay to meet him. All of that assessors have no idea what they are talking about. But I cannot blame them, because we, university professors, we have no idea what we are talking about. So our assessors which are government employees, or servers, or I don't know what's the name, are assessing us. If we really not just don't know, we don't care. We don't care to know about what we don't know. And there is a huge explanation why we don't care. If I start caring young, I will be thrown out of the university. So young people, don't do what I'm saying. Please, keep it in your mind. Do it as a hobby. And meanwhile, follow all what you have to need, even if you don't believe in that, in order to get to your promotion, academic promotion. But keep that in your mind for a possible hobby, thinking hobby. That's something that you can really take after getting that energy, not before. Don't do that damage to yourself. Don't listen to me. Why not in your...
So not to bury the lead, what you're saying is that we're having a passionate debate about terms that we haven't defined, we don't know and don't care about them, and we shouldn't listen to you?
Yeah, you shouldn't, until you are in your position, that you got a full professor, you ended up your track.
Well, I'm thinking maybe
your position.
I'd like to listen to Donald.
And in his position, keep that in your mind.
What he has to say.
At least as a hobby. At least as my youngest kid is doing. He said he's working on his Juris Doctor, that about the half of his time is going in another direction completely different, because he found out what in his career what I found out in my career. So you can do it as a hobby.
Just to return back to that idea of rigor and it's a notion and there's no one definition. If we're talking a little bit of what you mentioned, if we don't really care about the term, but if we're pragmatic in our thoughts, that the advice that you just received is really good advice, and that's the advice I tell my students too, is you might not like it, you might not agree with it, but the fact of the matter is your discipline has a certain methodology associated with it, and if you don't follow that according to the rules that are socially constructed, they're not out there somewhere where you can't just grab them, then you won't graduate, or you won't get your article published. And so I think that for me in any case, the key is that that idea of rigor is in fact a social construct that varies between disciplines, because we do, for my work, we're trying to do a lot more qualitative work. But, try and get that published in a top journal, or they're like, oh, it's not rigorous qualitative work, it's nothing to do with...
And I have to interrupt. So this is what friends are for. Who the hell decide what are the top journal? Right now, The people who are deciding that indirectly are the publisher, not that.
As part of a system, you got to think about the big system. Sometimes, as a pragmatist, who says a top journal is a top journal? My boss.
Yes. But who tell that to your boss?
Yeah.
Did you ask that question? How he knows that? Who told him that?
The president of the university.
And who told that to the president of the university? Because something like that I was saying, so I was invited to Colombia to say it. I say, please don't invite me. Because you don't need me. Because I will go over there, I'm going to say what I'm saying. That's what I need. I need you to say that in the conference that we are doing. I say, don't do it. I've been with her here outside 2 hours telling her, don't invite me because you're going to be blamed. Don't do it. She said, we need that. So I went. And all what I said was the opposite of what the president of the university said, that he was before me. Then by chance, in the third or fourth speaker, by chance we ended up one near other as listener. And he told me, you're not going to believe that I agree with you with everything. How can I apply that here in Colombia without losing the money I'm getting? If you can tell me that, I will be appreciated. I agree with all what you're saying, but I cannot say it. Because I would lose all the money I'm getting from the government and from the grant. And he said, hey, it's also right. So maybe this is the reason of the IIIS, not to have boss, not to have IEEE bossing us or ISS bossing us. Let us make our mistakes. Let's learn from our mistakes. This is one of the reasons of the IIIS. To remove bosses, because I got enough with my bosses in the university. After retiring, I said, no more bosses. Even if I die a fool, I told my wife. I prefer to die poor than to keep going, doing what the bosses want me to do, but without any explanation. Because they don't have the explanation, because someone else is bossing them, and then someone else is bossing him. And you are living there. And I am sure that you are living there. So if we don't do something, which is the last conversational session we had, but I need your help on that. If we don't at least try to do that, at least try, so we have to shut up. Because at least me, if I have to continue saying all these barbarities that I'm saying, I need to at least be honest with myself, not with you, but with myself, that at least I'm going to try in what I got left in this life. Because I don't have the restriction that you have. Because you still, with bosses. He has more restriction than you. He has more restriction than you. Because he has your restriction. Plus his restriction that if he don't comply, when the people don't know what they are saying about it, if he doesn't comply, he will not get the promotion.
I think you're painting perhaps a somewhat overly pessimistic picture. In all fairness, in U.S. universities, once you get tenure, short of felonies, you have, pretty much assured employment. At that point, you're your own boss, and if you choose not to follow the rules, then you might have a problem getting promoted. I certainly had that experience, but then ironically, I ended up getting promoted to full professor after publishing 2 articles in our premier journals, both of which argued that our discipline has really no conceivable purpose for existing. That we serve no useful purpose, because if all our research were burned, practice wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
So it's possible to do this type of thing. I think the challenge of interdisciplinary research is that ultimately, if you want a paradigm shift, or if you want to introduce a new paradigm, 2 things have to happen. First, you have to have a certain amount of dissatisfaction with the existing paradigm. And unfortunately, that's going to put you in opposition to folks who are doing disciplinary research, because they're not going to be wild about you criticizing it. The second thing is that you have to demonstrate that the new approach that you want to take is actually superior in certain contexts than the old approach.
Superior. So you see why I'm suggesting that? I'm going to do what you are telling me to do, but please let me do something else. So what you are doing is going to be the minimum rigor that we're going to apply, but not maximum. Let me go to a maximum, and there is other way to go to maximum. So I'm going to do what you are telling me to do, but I'm going to do something else. So why do you think that we are inviting people for additional representation in the last moment? Because we know that this presentation and these papers, there is no grant for them, or just few grants. And they were not going to count for the promotion. So we are trying to do that, and do that in the last moment, because they are invited. And then we have to be sure that we reach the break-even before making this invitation. So this is why people think, hey, you did that in the last moment. Yes, but I cannot do it before, because who's going to pay for that? I need to be sure that the conference is in a break-even in order to make this additional invitation for interdisciplinary communication. I cannot do it before. I wish I could do it before, because I had some financial sponsor, but we never had a financial sponsor. So we need to wait. Because what you are saying, so I'm justifying why we are always so late about an additional invited presentation with no additional charge. In order to try to meet our 20 years old purpose somehow, which is interdisciplinary communication, one of the integration in the largest sense, integrating not just discipline, but integrating academy with industry, etc., etc., etc. It's the system approach. I got in love, intellectually in love with the system approach. What can I do to relate things, saying I need to focus on the relation and not just on the part related, which are necessary to have also. And this will be this afternoon topic, that there would be no interdisciplinarity without discipline, by definition. Because how I'm going to relate something that doesn't exist? So there is a cybernetic relationship between disciplinarity and interdisciplinarity. And this is the topic that is following your topic this afternoon.
So I have a suggestion, Nagib, since this is in fact a conversational session, perhaps we ought to get some questions from the participants before we close it off.
You are the master in question, ask them.
I kind of looks at that deer with the headlights, shell-shocked look. Does anyone want to make any statements about interdisciplinarity or interdisciplinary communications? Come on. I can have absolute silence. Everyone will feel awkward.
Actually, I have a question. What's the definition of doxa?
Oh, great! Doxa is what? It's the opposite to knowledge. It's supposed to mean opinion as defined as unjustified belief, as long as we accept the definition of knowledge as justified belief, which is not unanimous, but is consensual to accept it. So as long as we accept the consensus that knowledge is justified belief, and there is a consensus, the lack of consensus is how we justify it. So when you get to how we justify it, you are lost. But at least justified knowledge, you see. So doxa is justified belief. Doxa is non-justified belief. One way of doxa is opinion, which is the origin, the Greek origin of doxa. So, after 5 years of philosophy, I see no different. They are opposite, of course. But like male and female, they need each other. They require each other to make evolution. So, like pole north and pole south. Thanks to that, you have electromagnetic field, and you can have, how do you say turbulence?
You lost me. I thought the opposite of knowledge was ignorance.
Thanks to that, to this opposite, you can have a compass that gets you out of the desert. You see what I mean?
The good news is
Thanks
my
to the
workshop is
tension.
a doxa-free zone.
Thanks to the voltage tension, you have current, electrical current. So the opposite are necessary conditions for movement. So sometimes I include myself on that because it's still happening to me. If we confuse contradiction with opposition, completely different. Pole North does not contradict Pole South Pole. They need each other. Female would not contradict manhood or whatever. Now we are toxic. Now being male is toxic. Did you know that in the United States for the millennial, you are toxic. You are toxic as a male. You are another toxic. So all of us male, we are contributing to male toxicity. So when I heard that, I tell my wife, how about female toxicity? I've been 40 years married, so I can talk about female toxicity or wife toxicity. I mean, how they can talk about that when we are opposite? That's it. We need each other.
We have some people over here who want to make comments.
Good morning. I'm sorry we were a little late, but I'm still a little bit confused. We come from Costa Rica.
A little bit? I congratulate you because I am completely confused.
But I'm a co-panelist and I have no idea what's going on.
I will comment about the subject. Actually, it cleared me some ideas because my co-worker friend and almost sister, she works in management of quality education, and I work in informatics. So sometimes when she talks about abstract concepts, I can understand her. But because she's my friend and I like her very much, and she's like my sister, so I am more empathetic to understand her and to write and do things together. But her field, and my field are completely different.
Yeah.
So when you talk about this, actually I have some ideas here. Clarify me some concepts of what we have to do. So thank you very much.
So please make this comment.
Yes.
Write this comment.
writing.
And if you after that you want to expand the comment to an essay, short essay, the better. And after that, if you want to expand this short essay to an article, it's better. It's better for all of us, starting by you and by her.
Yeah, but I read your article.
You need creativity to understand her. Yeah. No. I'm confused. She needs creativity so you can understand her.
Yeah.
She needs to use metaphor, analogies, etc., etc. That's mean creativity. And you need also creativity to be understood by her.
But I read your paper, and now that I'm listening to you, it's kind of all the ideas is coming to me of how I can better understand her.
Right.
Or she can understand me.
Right then, and I know that you know, but I'm going to have to say, you're going to learn a lot more when you start writing.
Is there one specific thing that really triggers that helps you to understand that? Was there sort of aha about this?
Well, actually, it came from a need.
He's giving the idea from you, from him, for his portion.
Oh my God,
It's not a room.
No, it came from a need. You needed to solve a problem.
It comes from a need. At the university, we have this felt need that we have to solve solution or give a solution. So I worked with her for 5 years, but I can understand a little bit what she's doing because I work with her. But we need to bring a solution to the university, and specifically in her field, that has to do with information systems.
Can you start a group that we are hosting with her this afternoon? Can you start an interest group on that?
But the problem that we have,
We will give you all the support that we can give you.
Yeah, and the big problem that we have is the authorities, it doesn't support us. And they do what they want to do.
Welcome aboard.
This is money for do information system, but they don't do what we need.
You talk with her in Spanish.
Yeah, but I'm
Okay, we have a plenary session in Spanish on that. No one's gonna go to that session, but I'm just,
Well, I probably understand it as much as this section. I don't speak a word in Spanish.
So I like the presentation.
Well, I guess maybe it's
we
time.
got 2 minutes left for you.
Yeah.
After 2 minutes, I'm stealing your time.
Well, no, actually, I think what we've got, I think maybe we ought to give people a 2-minute break and then wrap it up. We have multiple sessions like this going on through the day. My workshop will be a little bit more structured, but we'll have plenty of conversational sessions for people to join in.
Okay.
And my workshop will be highly structured.
The conclusion of that is easy. Let's be interdisciplinary, especially in communication, because it's more, we need more creativity, and it's more rigorous. And to have more rigor, and to be more creative, require effort. So we cannot blame everyone else but ourselves. Because I've been on that 23 years. And I know that it's not easy to get people to make an additional effort. If you don't make the additional effort of more creativity, analogies, metaphors, etc., and you are not doing a good translation between semiotic systems in order to make our field, the interdisciplinary field, more rigorous. To get more rigorous, you need more creativity, and you need to meet with another logic. You don't have, you cannot forget the logic of your discipline. You have to have an additional logic, which is the end mean logic. Your end to be understood by her. So this is another logic, and make your discourse more rigorous, because you have to comply not with no logic, We have to comply with all the logic that you have in your discipline, plus a new logic to get understood by you. And means.
You know, I think about how this impacts me personally, and the way it impacts me is I don't think as professors, as teachers, as adjunct professors, we can't be so focused on one discipline. Even if that's our area of expertise, we need to be able to know how to position that for our students under the big umbrella and how it fits to be able to teach them effectively. We can't just teach them about one discipline in a vacuum, because they're not going to go away with understanding and application. They're going to sit in that course in statistics, they're going to take all the notes, they're going to take the exam, they're going to slam the door after the exam, and all the material is going to go right out of their head, and they're never going to remember a thing. So it's our obligation to create some.
Our responsibility and obligation to do that.
I think so. And I think many of my, I hate to say it, many of my professors have failed me because they're so tunnel vision on a specific discipline, and they don't have the mechanism to put it within context to make it memorable learning, to cement it.
Can you come to the conversational session after this workshop? But I'm going to show you, not me, I'm just copying from another book, the intellectual barbarics of our time. Monsters. In that time, in that conversational session, I'm going to make it as controversial as possible, because I'm going to use harsh words, as I told you. I'm going to use harsh words, but it's the truth. As long as you are in interdisciplinary communication, not doing any interdisciplinary communication, you are getting a risk of the worst of the academic incest that you can ever have. I mean, we call academic incest to little things. Like I gave classes in the same place when I got my PhD. Like I made my master's and my PhD in the same university and the same department. So all that we call it academic incest. The real academic incestus is the interdisciplinary incestus. And I'm going to show you text not by me, but by other people this afternoon. So you can see how you can be, why the word incest, you can be a real intellectual monster. And I'm going to show text of you that I bet you, especially the ladies, they can stand it.